Hey, what's going on, guys and gals? CheFPV here. Team BeeRotor, zero grind FPV, all this stuff, right? 500 below, baby. On my little lunch break here, and was trying to do a OSD um, configuration on my BeeRotor F3 all-in-one OSD and flight controller. It's an F3. Love the flight controller. It's got like six gig, or it's got a couple of gig onboard storage for black box. It also has, like I said, built-in OSD, and it's got a bunch of cables and stuff that allow you to use multitude of PDBs, including theirs, that help just everything be clean. So I really like it. But my only issue with it was I could not configure the OSD, and you can't configure it in Betaflight because it's a multi-Wii OSD that's not standard for the Betaflight OSD. Now, that is a downfall until you figure out that it's super awesome and easy to configure, almost identically. It's not quite as drop and drag as the Betaflight one, but I'm going to show you how to access your BeeRotor F3 OSD, which this is based off of the SP Racing flight controller. So not the Evo, just the SP3 Racing. So because it is based off that flight controller, what I'm about to show you should work for any OSD built-in F3 that's based on the SP3 architecture. So that being said, let's see what we're doing here. So I do have props on only because guess what? I do not need a battery. Do not bring a battery anywhere near your quad with props on it when it's on the bench and you're about to plug it in. Even just the other day, I had a quad that I plugged in the USB and it reset the flight controller, and I don't know why, but it spun the props really quickly just for like a quarter turn. Freaked me out, and I remembered why I never do that. So don't. Also, this reminds me every day. Healed up happened to me over Thanksgiving. Look for the pictures on Facebook. But what we have here, now there might be another way to access this with another type of board, but this is what I used. FTDI or an FTDI OSEP controller board, and I got this from my local hobby shop of all places. It was like 20 bucks. I think you can get them for about 15 to 20 somewhere else online. Attached to that, I have actually made this into dual-sided 3-volt and 5-volt access to basically any kind of MSP UART the same way. So I soldered this all in together, and I still left the front side open for future tabs. But I have mine jumpered over to 5 volts. You'll need to jumper yours on 5 volts and use the 5-volt rail side. You'll plug that into, on mine, it's the way I have my board, it's the bottom left side, right underneath the USB. You'll find the plug. You'll plug the included cable with that came with the F3. This whole cable set actually came with the board, which is awesome. So you just basically plug it into here, solder it if you want, or just leave it free. Plug it in, and all you have to do is get your USB cable. It's an old school one, by the way, for mine. And plug it in. And now we're going to switch over and I'll show you the multi-Wii configurator. So here's the multi-Wii configurator, and it is downloaded off of Chrome. Now I am using the Chrome app on Mac. I do not have any info on if this is the exact same stuff that you need to do on PC. I apologize, but I do not know the PC side. Supposedly it's just the same. So we have now plugged in, like I said, our board. Now, where I was going wrong was this version of MW OSD configurator, which is multi-Wii OSD configurator. Go again to the App Store, the Chrome App Store, and just look it up. Download it, install it, or it doesn't even download, just install it into your Chrome. It pops up and it populates here with nothing. So I was having problems trying to figure out why I couldn't connect. I was getting a readout, a serial readout on Betaflight that was saying it was like this new connection, but obviously you couldn't connect to Betaflight. But I figured out that what it was I needed to come in here and select the physical port. Betaflight had me so used to it automatically detecting all the stuff that was necessary that box I didn't do. So I did that and I still couldn't connect, and I tried all kinds of other stuff, and I quickly figured out that when it was connecting to Betaflight, it was showing this port at this baud rate. So I went in and I set the baud rate. instead of leaving it just auto, I guess, or blank. Basically, what I'm saying here is this app is a little less user-friendly or user-intuitive, if you would. It's super user-friendly, but it's not intuitive like the Betaflight stuff. So that's where I was going wrong. I also was going wrong in the sense that I was trying to plug the battery in, see if that worked. I also even tried plugging the USB into the board at the same time. Well, guess what? What I figured out through reading was by plugging in the battery or plugging in the other USB to the main board, you're actually turning on the chip on the main board, and that chip disables the OSD reading. So I was basically chopping myself off. So all of my own debugging I was doing wrong. But what I did learn was is as simple as just, again, plug it in, set the port. For me, it was this one. 1152 is going to be your baud rate. Click connect. That's all you have to do. It's now connecting. It's reading it right now. It's pulling it up on the screen as it pulls it. This is actually my current OSD setup. It's there. It's red. So it's actually telling me, you know, the voltage, the temps, everything that's set is all here. And then I have my tabs. So you can start with your main voltage tab. Mine's configured already. Use flight controller main voltage, yes. Video, this I don't use. Amperage I do, so I went ahead and did it. Amp draw, all these things you can change if you want. Call sign, this is what I needed. I enabled my call sign and I set it. You can go through and check some other stuff. It was already set on PAL. I screwed up and set it to NTSC thinking, oh, I think my stuff is that way. It wasn't. So leave it to PAL, leave it to whatever it's set at. If you already have it visually on your screen, trust me, it's going to disappear if you change that. So you'll have to come back in and change it. I did add my throttle display. I wanted to see my throttle position. Units of measurement, I don't need to change, but if I did have GPS or something, you could. You can set the reset statistics after arming, but I left mine how they are. Display text alarms, I don't want any of that. Display the flight mode, it was there. Display my timer, it was there. Again, other stuff you can do. This is if you wanted to use a flight controller switch. So you could use a flight controller switch to control different aspects of it, show different parts and stuff like that, and that's all enabled within Betaflight, and here you'd have to do both. Here's where you're going to find your horizon bar. You're right here, if you'll see on the screen, see it popped up. I'm not using that. Elevation, sidebar, all those things. GPS, all that stuff. Alarms, here's where you would set your alarms if you used them. I don't need any of this. I have no idea. Oh, I guess this is where you could set, yeah, I don't even want GPS fixed. Yeah, I don't need that. OSD switch air mode, I guess. I don't know. I'm not going to mess with anything right now. I've already messed with mine. So after doing all of that, so you go in and change it. This is where I had it took a little debugging. First of all, to change your positions, you come down into this bottom portion of the screen and you click which thing you want to move. So here I'm going to move my call sign. It's right here. I can move it down, left, right. I can turn it, all kinds of stuff. I'm going to put it back where I want it because I'm not messing with mine. It's where I want it. These things were all over the place in different places though. So you're going to go through and pick all your different ones, your amps, your milliamps, move them all around. And then when you're done, two things. I would save the layout. And then you're going to write to OSD. This write to OSD is what writes this layout. So we're going to do that. And then we're going to have to write one more time the rest of the settings, I believe. I could be wrong about this. I'm not 100% sure, but I did do some back and forth debugging. And I can tell you if you don't do this, it will not change the layout. And being that I changed some other stuff, I'm going to go ahead and when we're done, write OSD at the top of the screen one more time just to be sure, because I think they're separate functions, but I could be wrong. But this is how I just went in. I've configured mine. I've double checked it. It's good to go. So we're 91%. All right, I'm going to write this OSD again. It says something else is in. Oh, it's reading. It rereads at the end. Sorry. Once you write, it reboots just like your flight controller, basically. So we'll write one more time. We're going to come back, and that's it. I'm going to do disconnect. I'll go plug in. I'll double check mine, but you can do that yourself. Hopefully, I've gotten you to the point, though, where you can connect and you can start figuring this stuff out. Fly safe, fly smart. Fly team BeeRotor, baby. CheFPV, Zero Ground FPV.